Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the world of PHP frameworks, focusing on one in particular, CodeIgniter. We're going to break down why these frameworks are a big deal for web development, what makes CodeIgniter tick, and how to get started with it. So, if you've ever been curious about making your PHP development smoother and more efficient, you definitely want to stick around for this one. Okay, so let's rewind the clock a bit. CodeIgniter's been around the block, first appearing on the scene back in 2006. Developed by Ellis Lab, it quickly gained a reputation for being lightweight and easy to use, especially compared to some of the bulkier frameworks out there. We're talking about a time when PHP was still finding its feet, and CodeIgniter swooped in with a more organized way to build web apps. Now you might be thinking, 2006? Isn't that ancient history in the tech world? And you wouldn't be entirely wrong, but here's the thing. CodeIgniter has stood the test of time for a reason. It's gone through a bunch of updates, with version 4.0 being a major overhaul. So don't let its age fool you. This framework's still got plenty of life left in it. Before we get too deep into CodeIgniter, let's talk about PHP frameworks in general. Imagine trying to build a massive Lego castle without any instructions or organization. That's kind of what it's like coding a complex web app with just plain PHP. Frameworks like CodeIgniter provide the blueprints and structure you need. This is where the MVC pattern comes in: model, view, controller. Think of it as separating your project into neat compartments. The model handles the data and logic, the view takes care of what the user sees, and the controller manages the flow of information between them. This separation of concerns makes your code cleaner, easier to maintain, and less prone to spaghetti code nightmares. So, why bother with a framework at all? Well, for starters, it's all about efficiency. Frameworks come with pre-built components and libraries for common tasks like database interaction, form validation, and security. This means you don't have to waste time writing everything from scratch, which is a huge time saver. And trust me, when you're building web apps, time is precious. Plus, using a framework can lead to more secure and maintainable code. Frameworks often have built-in security measures to protect against common vulnerabilities, and their structured approach makes it easier to find and fix bugs. Now, I know what you're thinking. Linus, this all sounds great, but is a framework right for every project? And the answer, like most things in life, is it depends. If you're building a simple, static website, a framework might be overkill. But if you're working on a dynamic web app with user authentication, databases, and all the bells and whistles, then a framework is your new best friend. It's like choosing the right tool for the job. You wouldn't use a sledgehammer to hang a picture, right? Similarly, you don't always need the heavyweight features of a framework for smaller projects. Now, before we get too cozy with CodeIgniter, let's acknowledge that it's not the only framework in town. The PHP world is full of options, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. You've got Laravel, the new kid on the block, known for its elegant syntax and robust features. Then there's Symfony, the enterprise-grade framework that's super powerful but can be a bit overwhelming for beginners. And let's not forget about Zen Framework, Yi, Cake PHP, and a whole bunch of others. It's like a buffet of frameworks, and you get to choose what suits your taste and project needs. But for today, our focus is on CodeIgniter. Remember how I mentioned it's known for being lightweight? Well, that's because it has a small footprint and minimal configuration, making it super fast and easy to get up and running. Plus, it's very flexible. While it does have an MVC structure, it doesn't force you to use it rigidly, giving you more freedom in how you organize your code. This makes CodeIgniter a great choice for beginners who are just dipping their toes into the framework world. It's also a solid option for experienced developers who need to build something quickly without sacrificing performance. So, what makes CodeIgniter stand out from the crowd? Well, apart from its lightweight nature, it boasts some pretty neat features. For starters, it has excellent documentation. Seriously, the CodeIgniter user guide is like a warm hug for developers. It's clear, concise, and packed with examples, making it a breeze to get started. On top of that, CodeIgniter has a built-in templating engine, making it easy to separate your presentation logic from your code. And let's not forget about its robust security features, including input validation, XSS filtering, and CSRF protection, which help keep your applications safe from nasty attacks. Now let's pop the hood and take a peek at how CodeIgniter works. At its core, it follows the MVC pattern, just like we talked about earlier. The model interacts with your database, the view handles the user interface, and the controller acts as the traffic cop, directing data between the two. CodeIgniter also has a concept of helpers and libraries, which are basically collections of pre-built functions that you can use to perform common tasks. This modular approach makes your code cleaner and easier to reuse. Alright, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and install CodeIgniter. Don't worry, it's a piece of cake. First, head over to the CodeIgniter website and download the latest version. Once you've unzipped the files, you'll need to upload them to your web server. Then open your browser and navigate to your CodeIgniter installation directory. Boom! You should see the welcome page, which means you're all set up and ready to start building. It's seriously that easy. CodeIgniter prides itself on its simple installation process, so you can spend less time fiddling with configurations and more time actually coding. Once you're up and running, you'll probably want to tweak some basic settings. CodeIgniter stores these configurations in a file called config.hp. Here, you can set things like your base URL, database connection details, and error reporting levels. Don't worry, the file is well commented, so you'll know exactly what each setting does. CodeIgniter makes it easy to customize your setup to match your specific project requirements. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of CodeIgniter. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the basics of PHP frameworks to the ins and outs of CodeIgniter itself. Remember, frameworks like CodeIgniter are powerful tools that can streamline your web development workflow and help you build amazing things. We talked about its history, its lightweight design, its user-friendly nature, and its awesome features. I encourage you all to give CodeIgniter a try and see how it can enhance your web development projects. It's a great way to level up your PHP skills and build some really cool stuff. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more tech tips and tutorials.